Martin Scorsese's gangster film The Irishman makes its world premiere this week, and in the run-up, producer Jane Rosenthal, who has been with the project since its inception, spoke to Deadline about the film. She said, "I'm excited for the world to get to see it. What will surprise you is, as a Scorsese movie, it is a slower movie. It doesn't have the kind of intensity, the visual intensity, as a Casino or Goodfellas. It is guys looking at themselves through an older perspective." She also said, "What you do look at with something like The Irishman is the toxic masculinity and what happens when someone chooses one family over their own nuclear family and then tries to make repairs at the end of their lives. What happens to particularly men who make that decision?" So some interesting snippets of information here. She first speaks of how the movie is different, slower than Goodfellas and Casino, which is in line with what Scorsese and editor Thelma Schoonmaker have said in the past, warning audiences not to expect a remake of Goodfellas because this is a very different film. She then says the film is a study of toxic masculinity. Now, I gotta be honest, I have a problem with this phrase. Even the phrase itself is something I find iffy. It's as if to say masculinity has intrinsic and fundamental elements that are toxic and harmful, which is debatable at best and highly offensive at worst. But then there's the fact that the phrase is associated with a current socio-political war that's raging, and toxic masculinity is one of the many buzzwords that is fired over the trenches, in and amongst feminism, liberalism, political correctness, social justice warriors, equality, diversity, make America great again, all that kind of stuff. And that modern day diversity war, identity politics, all that kind of stuff really has no place in The Irishman. And I've specifically made a point in my videos to stay away from all that, because it has nothing to do with the film. Look at De Niro and Donald Trump's war of words. That concerns the main actor of the film, but that isn't something I talk about because it's got nothing to do with the movie, and it would be cool if for once there was a film that wasn't dragged into senseless debates where everyone loses. The Irishman is an auteur project. It's literally a filmmaker, one of the best storytellers in Hollywood, telling a story he wants to tell. There is no political affiliation or message the movie has, it's only telling a story. Scorsese is famous for his character studies, the analysis of Jake LaMotta, of Travis Bickle, of Henry Hill and Jordan Belfort, all these interesting, morally ambiguous or downright disturbed characters. This is the stuff Scorsese likes to explore, and he has never let the zeitgeist socio-political climate interfere. And to throw in the phrase toxic masculinity, and I'm going to assume Rosenthal is aware of the connotations that has, seems like she's trying to make a link with the film to something where there isn't one. You know, is she trying to appease the diversity crowd and get more feminists to see the film? Is she defending the film from the inevitable complaints about violence? What's the goal here? Because it seems counterproductive, even hypocritical maybe, when one of the main selling points of your film is that it is a gangster movie, and everybody who's excited for it wants to see people getting whacked, Joe Pesci cussing everyone, and people getting shot in the face. I mean, to an extent, I can see where she is coming from. The Irishman is a movie about a guy who chooses a crime family over his own, and what happens as a result of that. As someone who's read the script, The Irishman will explore the violent and treacherous world of the mob, even throw us right in there with the guys where we see the joys and bounty of it, and then the rug is pulled from beneath our feet and the film deconstructs the life and explores how it destroys people. Goodfellas did this before, focusing on themes such as betrayal and paranoia. You can feel a change in the film from the moment Joe Pesci is shot. That's precisely when everything becomes just a bit too tense for the protagonist. Casino went there too, looking at the hyper-violence of the mob. The Irishman will also give audiences a chance to reflect, following a mobster who grows old and whose actions in his prime haunt him in his old age, one of many, is spending so much time with the mob he neglects his own family and ends up a lonely old man full of pain and regret. Scorsese never condemns his characters nor the life they live. He's a much more nuanced filmmaker than that and treats his audiences like adults, rather asking questions like, why would a character enter this lifestyle and why is it so enticing? But the facts are all there to see that the violence and brutality of the mob life came back to haunt Frank Sheeran and leave him with deep scars. But to call it toxic masculinity simplifies the argument, moves it away from what it's supposed to be about, and is quite simply the wrong choice of words. I mean, for those who know the story in The Irishman, whether you read the book or the script or whatever, in terms of the order that Frank Sheeran was given by his boss Russell Bufalino, which is the centerpiece of the film, and the consequences that had on Sheeran's life, what phrase would you use to sum up, thematically, the events of the film? I would say The Irishman is about friendship, about loyalty, about regret. These are the words that come to mind, not endlessly recycled ammunition from the modern day keyboard warrior identity politics war like toxic masculinity. I get what she's trying to say, but I think she's off with the way she's worded her comments. If anything, it seems a bit random, and her comment makes more sense if she had said mob life instead of toxic masculinity. So what did you think about Rosenthal's comments? Do you think she's talking sense? Is she off her rocker? Am I looking too much into it? Let me know in the comments below, and thanks for watching.